If you get the powdery mildews, actually spraying with water will kill that powdery mildew. So if you know you're going to get a good wind and a good hot day, spray with water and let it dry off, and then pray it doesn't get reinfected again. It's when the water sits on it and it stays damp, then it gets reinfected. But the free water actually kills the powdery mildew. You can grow plants that aren't as susceptible, move those plants to places that are really a little bit drier, thin them out so there's more air. Clean up really good in the fall and get that plant material either sent to your city compost or just throw it away. If you have a big compost bin, you could put it in there, but I would probably send it to the city compost. City composts are going to be big enough and hot enough where they're going to kill the powdery mildews and the black spots. Your small compost bins aren't going to do that. They'll never get hot enough, long enough for that. They'll never reach 150 degrees for 3 or 4 days. Or give them to somebody who has a better spot and grow something else. Sometimes you just got to say, you know, it's not working. You need to find a different home. And we'll open up the space for something new and better to come in.
What about lilac bushes in the shade?
You can grow lilacs in the shade. They won't bloom very well. They probably will get some powdery mildew. If they're the ones causing the shade, you'll probably be fine, and you'll just have the flowers higher up. But they're a full sun plant. They're like grass. They're a full sun plant. Less sun, less flowers. You can do it, but you're just going to be sacrificing a lot of your flowers.
So is there a way to get lilacs that are in full sun to bloom better?
Well, are they right in a lawn that's being fertilized heavily?
No.
Okay. Have you given them some compost or full spectrum, so to say, fertilizer?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have they been in the ground? 5 years, 7 years?
I would think over 5.
Over 5. Do they look really healthy otherwise?
Yeah. My husband backs a camper into them once in a while.
Have you pruned them?
Oops. Yeah.
When do you prune them?
After they've bloomed.
Okay. Well, but they aren't blooming.
They bloom, but not
as much.
Well.
Okay, so they're probably just blooming at the top. Are they in full sun? We're talking
full. No.
We're talking from 9 o'clock in the morning till sunset.
No.
We're talking from 9 in the morning to 11, and then 3 to 4. That's not going to cut it.
Okay.
They need from like 11 to 4 for sure. That hot day sun. They need that full sun. Anything less than that hot midday sun, they're just not going to be that happy.
Okay.
So if you need to move them where they can get a little more afternoon, and the noon and afternoon sun would be better. Morning and noonish sun, okay, but not as wonderful.
And if you transplant them, then do you wait that typical 3 years before
Not necessarily.
Okay.
What you could do is as soon as the ground thaws out this year, depends on how big they are. But as soon as the ground thaws out this year, I'd probably go around and do a root pruning, where you take the shovel and you just figure out, okay, how big of an area can my husband move? Because we know your husband's going to be doing this. So you just take your shovel and just go all the way around. You make a trench. You're cutting the roots. You don't go under, you just cut. And that's in the spring as soon as the ground thaws. Then in late August and September, when it's a little cooler for you and the plant, you do that again. You cut it up. You move it to its new home. It's got wonderful compost and everything. You do it by the 3rd week of September. Before that, get it really well watered, mulch it in. It should be fine. By doing that root pruning the season before, you're actually turning it into a container plant. So all the roots out here die, but all the roots in here go, oh my gosh, we've been cut, we need to make babies. So they do all these baby roots. They do all these roots inside. So that all these new feeder roots inside the root system. So you're actually putting a container plant in the fall. So you don't have as much of a transplant shock.
Great, thank you.
So when you move them, no fertilizer, just compost. You can do that with any of your plants. Do the root pruning the season before, and then move them in the next season.
Thank you.
You bet.
So I have a question on, under my overhang on the
Uh-huh.
house. I haven't planted anything because I have tried nothing grew.
Right,
But the soil is like a rock
right.
because it gets no water
Mhm.
and it's like clay.
Mhm.
So now you're making me think maybe I should try to use that because it feels like wasted space. What should I do with it to prep it?
Well, I wouldn't do much prepping. I would wonder, if I'm even going to put a soaker hose there, will any additional water cause complications in my basement? That would be my first question. And any soil within a foot of the foundation, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. If you don't have water issues, don't touch it. Everything's fine. Back and leave on this way. Go another foot out. Put your soaker hose down. If you want to dig it up, you can. I'm not a fan of digging up soil. I like to just go on top and put compost and have all the critters and everything do all the work for me. Remember, I'm a lazy gardener, so I'm not going to be digging the soil. I would probably like cover it, cut all the weeds, water it really well, maybe throw some compost down, put some newspaper down, water that, throw some mulch on it, then the next season I pull the mulch aside and plant it in. That's what I would do, because I'm a really lazy gardener. And by doing that, I'm not disturbing any weed seeds that are there, so they're not going to be popping up. I'm just kind of inviting those soils to get nice and healthy and start getting moving, and they start working, and the worms come, and they start pulling down all the nutrients, and they start working up that soil, it gets fluffier and fluffier. And then when you pulp through, if you want to throw some compost and home pulp the soil, and then run your soaker hose, because you're going to have that overhang. But I would keep it at least a foot, if not more. So maybe put the soaker hose a little further, like in front of the plants.
So do that all this season and then...
Yeah, and then probably mid-spring, midsummer, you could probably be planting. So when you see those sales at the garden centers, when the plants aren't looking perfect, maybe they have a little bit of something on them. But as a gardener, you know what to do, so you can get them for half price. Cheapskate. You can get them for half price and plant them in, and it's not super hot. And yeah.
That's what we did on all of our beds here, folks.
Yeah.
That's why
Did
we
you
had
get-
y'all put down compost instead of mulch all over the place again. That's why we worked so hard.
It
this
just
spring.
reinvigorates the soil. It gives the soil something healthy.
And as the benefit, compost also acts as a mulch. So when
Yeah.
everybody came up to me and said, "Gosh, we had hardly any weeds this year,"
Exactly.
and I said, "Yes, that's what I wanted to hear. It's working."
That's part of my evil plan, Liz.
Yes, and we're the lazy gardeners now because we don't want weeds. We want good soil.
And you can think of it as being lazy gardening, which is what I do, but you can also think of it as, I only have X amount of energy, and I want to spend the energy looking at my plants and, pruning them or whatever. Weeding I love weeding, personally, I love weeding. So I'm always sad when I can't weed because there's no weeds. But that's just my issue, and I have a lot of them, but that's my issue.
Invite your over, Steve.
I wander around my garden in the spring looking for dandelion leaves and, and chickweed and everything else for the chickens because there's like no green weeds growing. It's like, there's no weeds in this garden. It just is what it is.
Oh, yeah, except Pine Trees has chickens.
I do have chickens.
She's a urban chicken
Yes.
farmer.
They hang out in their chicken coop. They're waiting for me saying, "Mom forgot to lock us up tonight. The raccoons are going to come and eat us." No, I'm coming, girls. I'm coming. So they have a hen house, and
They can stay warm in this cold.
Yep, they stay warm. I did turn on the sweeter heater for them. It's like a radiant heater. When it was icy cold, and I just haven't gotten around to unplugging it because again, it's so much work to reach in and unplug it. Poor babies. So they have it so good in there. But actually, as long as they're out of the wind and the rain and the snow, they're fine. They would not even need a heater. Yeah.
Now they think they're on a beach in the Bahamas
They do.
because the lights
That's
still
why
on.
they're wearing glasses all the
Yeah,
time.
they're going, "Hey."
That's why they were wearing shades. It's not that bright out here with their weird chickens. But yeah, they're wearing their sunglasses and everything else. They're weird. Yeah.
When you guys talk about putting compost down, how much are you talking about?
An inch or two, an inch. And if you don't have a lot, you put less down. And if you have a lawn that's maybe really compacted, take your coffee grounds and toss, well, again, wait till the neighbors aren't watching you. And you just toss them out like you're feeding chickens. Let them dry a little bit because they're easy to work with when they're dry unless you like playing with wet coffee grounds. But it's a little nitrogen source. Or you could do that with compost too, just lightly spread it over this area. So you're not mulching anything, you're just compost. You're just adding some compost. And again, that'll start that activity, that bacteria and that fungus and the insects and everything else. As they start to get healthier, more things come and more things come, and have this intricate system that just works on its own so fantastic. And all you have to do is step back and let Mother Nature do her stuff. And your garden will be beautiful, and she'll let you claim all the credit. It's so cool. She doesn't expect you to give her credit at all, but she does all the hard work. It's wonderful.
But for a lot of you folks that I know buy compost, because nobody does that out
And
in the
even
prairie.
if you do your own compost, you never have enough. There's never
No,
enough.
I don't even, and I have a very small yard,
Yeah.
but be picky when you go to buy it. Don't buy just Luminar's $1.69 bag, because a lot of times what they do is they take fill dirt off of construction jobs and label it as compost.
You want good compost or
So,
manures to a work,
Just a little warning,
nice
you get what
manures.
you pay for.
Yeah.
So cow's moo or
Cow's moo
any
is
of
really
those
good,
are
yeah.
excellent. And they don't sell those. Well, there probably is a couple of kinds at the big box stores.
Yeah.
But,
But your garden
consider-
center, go to your
Go
smaller
to your
garden
garden
centers.
centers or your
You know,
local
where you need to
nursery
support
and get
your
something
local-
good.
Yeah,
Because
where you-
otherwise you're
yeah.
throwing sand and
You're
ground up
right.
cement and concrete on your soil.
Yeah, so you're supporting your local one. And the cow's moo is really good, that's made over in Wisconsin. He's a really cool guy, and that's manure, that's not compost, but that's cow
Yeah.
manure. So that's really good too.
Any of
Pardon?
Any of that cow manure is good.
Yep, as long as when you open the bag, it looks and smells like dirt. If it smells like manure, no. You should never put smelling manure on your yard. It is way too hot to burn things. If you do have a guinea pig or an alpaca or a rabbit, you can put their manure fresh on the garden, but anything else you can't. Alpaca beans, you can put those on the garden fresh. Rabbit manure is fresh.
Cocoa beans.
Cocoa beans are okay. Cocoa beans put in a very, very, very thin layer, and when you start to see them go fungusy and moldy, just be really happy, because that means they're decaying. It's the cocoa on them that's decomposing, and that's why they get fungusy. And I know it may look icky, so just rough it up, the fungus all disappears. But yeah, so when you see mushrooms and fungus in your yard, just be so happy, because that means your yard is healthy for funguses. And your cool mushrooms and decaying stuff, decomposition is happening under the ground. Cool stuff is going on down there. That's really cool. And you can just see they're not flowers. I like to think of them as flowers, but you get to see the fruiting bodies. That's really cool. And then if you don't like them, you can knock them over, because some people get fruit down there.
So in your bed, like your perennial beds in the spring, after all the snow's gone and everything, and it's just like rock hard.
Yep.
So you're saying don't rough it up? Just put
I
compost
wouldn't.
up? You wouldn't?
I
You
wouldn't,
just
no.
compost?
And I would probably, when you have bare soil that's been hit by the snow and the frost, that's destroying the soil structure.
Okay.
So that stuff should have been mulched in the fall. So throw some compost down on top of it in the fall, or let a layer of leaves be on top of it in the fall, just a light layer of leaves. And that will protect that soil structure, so it doesn't get hard and it doesn't get like that. But because you need to protect that soil structure, it's so delicate. You look anywhere with nature, nature doesn't let things stay empty for long. She knows what happens to that soil if you let it stay empty. It washes away, you lose everything. So you want to fill it up. Nature's always filling up. You get the pioneer plants in there that are breaking up that horrible, icky soil, and they break it up and they die, and then better plants come in and bigger and better, and it just goes on and on. It keeps going like that all the time. So in your yard, you want to fill up all the spaces you can. And if you really like the look of bare soil, pretend it's bare soil that you're putting down, but it's compost.
It's just bare soil because the perennials haven't come up yet.
Right, but you should have some mulch between your perennials, or some compost between your perennials, and it'll look like bare soil.
Okay.
And right around each one, they'll be bare, because you don't compost right up to the crown of the plant. You need a little bit of space. And if you're looking to get compost, it's not compost, but you can make your own leaf mold. Just save a few bags of leaves, tie them up, put them in a place in your garage, in the back corner of your yard. You don't like seeing them, let them sit there for a season or two, and some of the leaves will stay leaves, but inside they'll turn into this beautiful leaf mulch, and you can put that down as a compost. And most of us have trees in our yard, and that's free. You're not paying 1 penny for it. You do have to pay for the bags, of course, because you can't use decomposing bags because they'll fall apart in the first season. Just plastic bags, but, you know.
Any leaf or
Any
certain?
leaves.
Okay.
No buckthorns, no black walnut leaves. Any other leaf will be fine. Your oak leaves take a lot longer to break down.
Yeah.
You know, you get your honey locust leaves, they'll probably be gone in the season, because they're like, you know, they're
Yeah.
multiple leaves, they're compound leaf. So if you have oak leaves, run them through the shredder first. And then just have a few bags of leaves. Then, you know, when you plant your plants, you don't have to even buy mulch, you have leaves. Put leaves over instead of mulch. And it looks really natural, if you like that look, and it looks really natural and it'll break down fairly quickly.
Look at what Mother Nature does. She always leaves some leaves there.
And you don't see a lot of weeds there. You don't see a lot of weeds there.
How come a lot of people till them into the soil in the spring? They use them as mulch in the winter and then they put them in the soil.
I think a part of that comes from our farming background, where before when we had bigger farms where they had plows, so they would plow up because they had a horse, or they had oxen or a tractor, and so they'd have these big things, and so they'd run and they'd clean off everything for a fresh slate. So if you don't have 40 acres, not really sure why you're plowing and tilling up, because monsters don't really have to work them into the soil. The worms will work a lot of that into the soil for you. Earthworms are not native to the Americas, but other worms are, and other bacteria and microbes will work them in. So if you do fishing or anything like that, you have extra worms, or you have extra anything, it goes in the garbage. You don't throw it in the lake, or you don't throw it out in the soil, in the woods, because actually, if you look in this picture here, there's not a lot of undergrowth. And if we have ephemeral native plants like Virginia bluebells and trilliums, the earthworms eat through the mulch layers so quickly, they kill those plants, because that's where those plants should live, in that mulch layer, in that layer of leaves. Because every year the leaves come down so much and they don't all break down. So that's where the trilliums and everything live. So when we let the earthworms loose in our forests, we lose a lot of those ephemeral native plants, because the earthworms love the leaves and they work them into the soil, but they take away the places where the trilliums live. So you can really tell places where there's earthworms in the forest and where there isn't earthworms in the forest, because earthworms are an invasive species. So don't kill them if you have them. Enjoy them, use them, but don't share them with the forest. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
What about Milorganite?
Milorganite is Milwaukee sewer sludge.
Yes.
So if you are comfortable putting that on your garden, you are fine to put that on your garden. Legally, you cannot put it on your lawn, even though it may be sold for that, because it has phosphorus in it. And legally, they should not be selling it for lawns, because it has phosphorus in it. In the Sutter counties, we can't sell things for our lawn that has phosphorus, unless your lawn is low in phosphorus or you're putting in a new lawn. But it is supposed to help against bunnies and deer because of the smell. I wouldn't put it on food crops, but in your gardens, it's fine. And so, you know, some people love to put down, the Miracle Grow. You want to use Miracle Grow everything, that's fine too. Some people only use, organic kelp. Wherever you are on that spectrum, that's fine. You just be happy with wherever you are on the spectrum. For some people, Milorganite falls more to the chemical and the man-made stuff. For other people, it's more on the organic side. It's whatever is comfortable. But it is good, but just not where it can leach into our waterways with phosphorus. But it's good for your gardens. It's supposed to help with the bunny issues and the deer issues. Bunnies and deers are so much fun. You guys probably have a lot of that out here. I don't have a lot of deer issues in the cities. Yes. Squirrels, are another problem, but that's an issue I have, and again, with so many that I have. And now that I've fenced my yards, I'm hoping I don't have bunnies that much. Even then, everything is packed so tight in my yard, and I have so much in my yard, that I've never really had a bunny issue. One year, they kind of did a number on trees when it was a really heavy snow. But other than that, I have not had much predation from rabbits. We have a lot of them. I drive down the alley and I'm like herding rabbits. Really? Where are the cats?
Where are the owls?
Where are the owls?
We have
Well,
some wild turkeys.
we have
that
owls, we
Scary,
have
they're
eagles
good.
living real big, but they can only eat so much, I think. You know, I mean, there'd be 80-pound eagles, and they wouldn't be fun, so.
I was just going to say, I had seen the rabbits eat off my pyrrhea and
Yes.
some new hydrangea that were planted. And so when we were at Fratelloni's, I happened to say, you know, what do you suggest for rabbits? And he looked on the shelf and they didn't have their
They're
whatever. Dave, and so he says, you know, we haven't got that stuff out yet, but you know what the farmer's method is, he said, is to blend, he said, 6 eggs in 2 quarts of water. Of course, my blender's not that big, so there's 3 eggs
Right.
and 1 quart of water.
Yep,
And to spray that on the shrubs,
sure.
and I think it did the trick.
It does, because the eggs will be rotten. And so the smell of rotten eggs will hide the smell of the foliage. You could also use things like garlic, and some people use things like some of the herbs or some of the spices that are really fragrant, cinnamon and other cloves, things like that. Hot pepper also, if they bite into it, but then they bit into it and they destroy the plant already, which is kind of defeats the purpose, but that may, because they'll just say, oh, let me try the next step, maybe that won't be fun. So the hot pepper thing, some animals learn, some don't. Some then say, give me some chips with the hot pepper and we'll have salsa here. But I'm also a big proponent of fences. I love chicken wire. I'm starting a movement. The coolest gardens have chicken wire. So far, I'm the only member of it. But I'm hoping someday that people will say, if you have a cool garden, you have chicken wire in it. And put up the fences before the bunnies do the damage. Put up the fences before you plant the plants. Put up the fences before you put your vegetables in. Because once the bunnies know where your buffet is, they will come back
Yeah, to
again
be
and
honest
again.
with you guys, I grew up on a farm and farmers in Norway and Sweden have been using it forever. It's called plant skid.
Yeah.
Plant
Skid
skid,
is very good too.
SKYDD.
It is this.
It is stinky.
No, the granules they came up with now, the sprinkle granules aren't like it. It's actually
You
either
can't sprinkle
wild,
the granules on.
it's dried bovine blood or wild boar blood, depending on which partner they get. They got one for deer and elk and one for
And it's
rabbit.
okay to spray on your plant.
It's totally organic, it's dried blood.
Again,
It's
you
natural.
probably wouldn't want to put it on your vegetables.
All right.
You know.
No, but you
But
sprinkle it
on
around.
your orange vegetables,
Really, really,
I would wait
on the
to make
Master
sure my
Gardener
neighbors have
listserv
gone
last
into
year,
it.
there was a lot of people who
Right,
really
put it
enjoyed
down.
it. They enjoyed using it because it worked very,
Otherwise,
very
they
well.
come and
So
lynch
spray
you.
around the garden, but
How
not
do you
your
spell that?
vegetables.
SKYDD.
Plant skid?
SKYDD, and you can go into any nursery.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think
There's a
even
little
in,
bonfire
I
in
know
there.
Blackman sells it, I don't know about like the Menards or Home Depot or whatever.
I haven't found it there. I did find it at Boston's.
But now, before, when,
Oh,
like
no,
farmers
it makes
use it
road
as the dried blood, you mix it with water and it's an awful mess and it stinks. Now they have the granules, you just sprinkle it around. Granules.
No,
And, yeah,
make
keeps
sure
them
you're-
out. I warned my neighbors because I said, once I put this down, all the bunnies are going to your yard. And they didn't believe
You
me.
wanna
I
do
said,
it
you better
after
go
your
get
neighbors
some.
have been
Didn't believe me.
I don't want to have a neighbor that takes care of mine for me.
You know what, they're pretty, well, you know, squirrels are a tough lot.
Yeah, deer.
Squirrels really.
My
don't.
recommendation, you know what I do whenever I plant something? I buy that hardware cloth, real cheap at Menards, or whatever. And you just, when you're digging your hole, fill it up with a little bit of soil, put the hardware cloth in, and then you cover it with enough soil so people don't see the chicken or the hardware cloth in your yard. And squirrels hate the feel of it in their teeth.
They
and
can't
their
dig
claws.
into it.
All my containers, same thing, they got that hardware cloth. And they sell it really cheap. I mean, you can get a huge roll of it for like, you could get 100 yards of this stuff for like 15, 20 bucks at Menards. And they have it from like either, like small up to like 1-inch squares. So I put it in even before I put my plants or my seeds in, and then those seeds, their plants grow on through those squares.
So is it biodegradable?
No, it's like
It's
wire fencing. It's like
They call it hardware cloth, but it's like metal fencing.
if you think of a screen only with big wires.
Big squares.
And like big squares.
Okay,
yeah.
and they come in different sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
know
say,
what
if you're gonna
you're
put
talking
seeds or something, then you want to make sure you buy big enough squares so your plant can still come up.
And then remember, you have it there so you don't take the rototiller to it. Or when you're digging, you're gonna run into it. So then you wouldn't even be trying to
Who
till
wants to
it.
till or break down our soil
Exactly, don't
structure?
worry about breaking down your soil structure. No, don't break down your soil structure. And you
Then
just
don't put it in.
putting in new gardens. That's when you put in new gardens, yeah. Or you do annuals. Annuals, you do need to dig your soil, and so you will have to plant your soil.
That's why Grace is one of our best people at spring restoration day. I gotta weed out a ton of Queen of the Bird.
Did you
And our
have
planting days.
Yeah, under a maple tree,
Yes.
we've got challenges growing anything.
Yep, yep.
Are there things that will survive?
Yeah,
And then-
I would definitely try some of the things like the geranium, the epimediums.
Yeah, we've got epimedium and we've got Virginia.
Virginia would do well. Geraniums would do really well under there. They're
Hostas
really
just
good.
won't make it.
You know what you need to do? You dig your hole for the hosta and add a little compost, and then you're going to probably have to do a little extra watering. And you may have to keep giving that little compost, because the maple's going to take all the nutrition out.
Even dogwood struggles.
Sure, yeah. The maples just they have a bigger root system.
Compost.
They're kind of a bully.
Hi.
Well, the roots are so shallow too. We have
Yeah.
two huge maple trees in our yard, and I've tried to, and actually, I mean, it's kind of funny that you say your hosta won't grow. I'm replacing almost everything with hosta,
All right.
because it's the only thing that will
Right.
grow.
And so, yeah, and that works. And do let some of the leaves, compost naturally, that helps. But yeah, you wouldn't want to take the rototiller under with it, it's not going to happen. So each plant individually in its own little hole. And
Being that it's hard to dig a hole.
It is.
How much can you put on top of the roots to sort of build them now?
I would say nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say nothing, because their roots are just going to keep coming up. That's what maples do, they have surface roots. It's what maples are. Maples have surface roots, that's what they want to do. So if you put an inch or two of dirt over them, or soil over them, they're probably going to raise up again. So they're just going to keep doing it. And if you put 6 to 8 inches, probably in about 7 years, you'll be replacing your tree. So
Yeah,
if you're
that's
going to go that route, I would probably just cut the tree down first, because then you don't have to wait for 7 years, and you have to build your garden around, and then you destroy your tree. So if you're trying to kill your tree, it's easier just to cut it. Yeah, it's easier just to do the one cut than the 7-year-long prolonged death.
Okay, one
Any other
last
questions?
question, because then we're gonna wrap it up, and
Okay, yes.
we're gonna talk Teresa into coming into us July during our ice cream social.
And I can
Her
answer
and I are
questions.
just gonna do
Yeah,
a total, bring in your plants, we'll diagnose them and help with
Yeah, we'll tell you lies.
it.
I
More
will
to
tell you
come
stories about
later,
it.
keep them wanting more.
Yeah, keep them wanting more. Come on.
So for back of the garden,
Yep,
shade,
yep,
snake root,
yep. Used to be Simicifuga racemosa, my favorite words. And they
That's our snake
changed
root,
Simicifuga to Actea.
which
Really?
has the greatest bloom.
Really? Simicifuga, you changed to Actea. I'm sorry, what a terrible Latin name, but it's now Actea racemosa. How
And then
boring
there's
is that?
Woodland rue,
The woodland rue is
or
good.
phylacterium.
Phylacterium.
Yeah.
That's a really good one too. The phylacterium it does have a chemical in it that could interact with your skin and give you burns, And if you get out in the sun, it can give you burns. So it's one of those plants like Dictymus, like the gas plant. Just be really careful around it if you're susceptible to it. It also is one of those plants where some people plant it and it keeps cats away from the garden. And some cats look at it as a challenge because you have that fragrance and I'm going to pee all over you. And some cats look at it as you have that fragrance, I don't like them to stay away. So it can go either way, keeping the cats out or inviting them in. They won't come in because they like it, but they come in because of a challenge. But yeah, the phylacterum.
And yeah, the ones we have are really, really tall.
They're beautiful. They're really
7
pretty.
feet tall.
Really feathery,
And a little
flowers.
popcorn lavender flower.
Yeah, they're just really pretty. Gray-green leaves, again, the leaves sort of like a columbine, a gray-green, it's really pretty.
Is it phylacterium or phylacterium?
T-H-A-L.
Or just woodland room.
Oh,
Woodland
okay.
room.
And then the snake red or
The Simicifiga racemosa.
It has a long feather blossom. And it'll be there at the late August and into probably end of September.
And that's a little taller plant too.
And it's
really
got
cool.
the
Snake red.
greatest smell.
Snake.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Very, very perfumey.
Yeah, it's pretty. So throw that in with your chelone, your turtle head, and maybe a witch hazel over the top. You got some beautiful fall color going on. Some pretty spring balls, and then a few,
Now, pulmonaria, we like that.
The lungwort.
Yeah.
Lungwort. Yep, the pulmonaria is nice. Has lots of different speckling of the leaves, so it's very pretty. Looks like lungs, that's why they call it pulmonaria. That's what it's named from lungwort. Wort's another name for plant. So you guys knew all this already.
No, just things that we tried. Oh, and then what's the,
And there's Jacob's ladder, can grow well in the, some people have good luck with that one.
it's, the type we've got is Abbey Road, but it has that starburst blossom.